First of all, I think its values resonate with mine on a granular level. I think putting the African story within a global context in a high quality way without losing its authenticity and, telling a story. I think it's always telling a story in a way that's meaningful to the people who consume it and the people who produce it. And I think that's something that's amazing about Edun. It bridges, two gaps in a way that's very beneficial to both parties. You have, artisans who, love doing what they do. It's heritage. It's something that has been passed on to them. It's something that they love doing, they keep and they use to create beauty. And you have, Edun with like a very amazing story, and it creates this, following of people who resonate with that. And I just find that pretty cool.
Edun's design is led by an internal creative collective. We're all based in New York, and we work closely with different artisans. Could be in Kenya, Madagascar, Ghana, Senegal. We collaborate with artisans to develop fabric, but also trim and finished garments.
It's really based on a partnership, and it really is focused on Africa to begin with. For the past 10 years or so, that's been the sole sort of purpose of the brand. And I think with this new generation or next chapter of the Edun sort of collection, it really is about kind of enforcing that inspiration and also the sourcing as to the maximum capacity.
I think it makes a huge difference designing a collection about Africa, having not visited. After you really understand like colors, the smells, like how people wear stuff is so different than how you'd wear it in New York or in Europe, or their reference point is so different. Everything is a million colors, like tons of different colors, floros mixed with kind of like old dusty colors mixed with prints, and we actually try to use that in our design process, a lot of this collaging and like mixing and matching of prints to kind of get this energy.
It's not about the dissimilarities. I think it's so much about the connection between the Western and also in Africa. So what's inspiring is like to see how people dress and how they mix things and how they mix traditional with found, and also with a lot of like Western sportswear. And you'll see like a Kanga wrap, but then you'll see like an Adidas track jacket. And I think that kind of mix is celebrated worldwide. And I think that's what's so fascinating about traveling to a place that you're sort of gathering inspiration from. It's not textbook, it's actually experiencing the culture firsthand.
I think as a fashion company, your job is to be creative. But very often, when you have too much opportunity, too much freedom, it's start to know how to focus a little bit. And having all of this trip, that has been about understanding a lot of constraints, which are the constraints that, the artisans themselves have. The sourcing of the material, the electricity issue, and being able to think about a product that they can be able to develop at a very high quality. Understanding this constraint in a certain way brings some creativity in our process.
The process is I make the template first. After that, I mold it. After that, I put it to the furnace. After that, I melt the metal and then I pour it inside. After that, I'm going to cut it. After cut it, I'm grind it. After grind it, I'm going step by step up to buffing. That's the process. Yeah.
When most people think of handloom weaving, they think of the kikoi, the shawl, specific products. But now, the advantages are, or some of the local designers here have looked at the process, and textile designers look at the process of handlooming and saying, let's add texture to it by bringing in a different something to it, like you have done, by using shoelace as the main piece and in different colors. So for the artisans, it's very interesting for them to see themselves producing something differently, still using the same machineries, still using the same technique, but a product that's going to be used slightly different from what they're used to. And because of that uniqueness, I believe younger people will join the handloom weaving process with a bit more knowledge of creating things that are out of the norm, and may be able to design beforehand different textures available for the market.
I think one of the core mission was to really find alternatives to the fashion industry and looking at alternative in terms of fabric, but also where can we reorganize the manufacturing. Africa has a very rich old history of making and within the textile industry. Unfortunately, all the manufacturing has been disappearing over the last 20 years. The skills are there. There's a lot of challenge to reorganize this production. I think combine the tradition of this knowledge, bringing back work opportunity through this industry.
This is the material we are using to make the buttons. So this is horn. We have the horn white, we have the horn black. The process now is taking it to a liquid called salad. So salad is to make it straight. This is the final product we are going to get out of this. This is called potassium permanganate, and we call it dye. This is the one we are using to get black and white.
It's natural dye.
Natural dye. You can give me a drawing. I just sit down and start thinking because I want to do something, because once you give me something, I want to make it, and I just sit down and start thinking on how I can do it. It is not something somebody can show you on how to do. Like the one you just send the diagrams, you send everything, the drawings. So I can just sit down and see how I can work on it. So once I see, you just think on how you can make it. There's nobody who teaches us on how to do it.
One thing that's unique to our model specifically is how you can say waste efficient our process is, because we use upcycled material. Even the things that we use to make the product with are upcycled. It's completely redeeming the waste stream of excess, and it's pretty efficient. And even with the things that get rejected, they're poured back and reused. Everything always just winds up being utilized in a way that would create value.
I think the fashion industry need Edun. I think we're the right alternative, and I think customers are looking for that type of alternative. I think people are very curious about the making, the behind the scene, the origin, and that's what we want to do. We want to be able to tell our story and being able to build this community behind the brand, of people who are going to be able to look through the garments. You know, I think it's really important for us to be able to re-familiarize the customer with what really handmade mean. After the fashion part of it is also important because people also want to know about the story, but they also want to look cool in their clothes, you know, and they want to feel good. You still need to keep this kind of, you know, fun, because at the end, it's fashion.